Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is another episode of the Raycaster Gaming C++ series, and in this video we are going to improve some functionality of our editor before we can get into the fun part of collision detection and some sprites in the future videos. We are first of all going to clean up our editor a bit and add some necessary features. So first of all, I'm going to open up main.cpp, and in here you can see we have got a bunch of different stuff here, but the thing that we are going to change is that we should allow the user to open different maps using just command line arguments. So I'm going to go under int main where we are loading this. We are going to take the command line arguments as in here like that, and we are going to just do it like that, and then we are going to use them to load the map if a command line argument is present. So after we have created a map, we are gonna actually create the map in the end. I'm going to take this and let me just take this here, and I'm gonna go ahead and create it in the end like here, and I'm gonna say if our argc is greater than 1, because the first argument is always the name of the program. If our argc is greater than 1, then that means that another argument has been provided. Then we are going to say map.load, and we are going to load this from our editor.saved file name, and we are going to set our editor.saved file name. So we are going to say editor.saved file name is equal to argv1. The reason we use 1 here, of course, is the first is the name of the program and the second is the actual argument, and we are going to set that to our editor saved file name. Then we're going to load from that file name, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I go here and I were to run make right now, nothing would happen. We should still get a empty raycaster. However, I can run, for example, build/raycaster and provide it with test.map. And if I do that, you can see it actually opens it up in test.map correctly. And if I, for example, say test2.map, that won't actually load because this is in an incorrect format. But anyways, test.map, as you can see, does load up, and it's in the editor as well and all of that. So yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna close this now, and I'm going to exit this, and this means that now our map can our program can load different files from the file name. And I'm gonna go ahead and edit our makefile a bit. So let me just open up the makefile, and in the makefile we are going to change it so that when we are actually running this, by default we are going to run with our test.map. So I'm going to go here, and we are going to have another variable here called args, which we are gonna set to you can just set it to, for example, test.map, and this is going to represent the actual command line argument. So in here, when we are running our program, we are going to go ahead and yeah, we are gonna go here and we are gonna say test.map. Actually, not test.map directly, we are going to pass in our argument, so args like that. And if I run make right now, you should see that it opens up test.map. And if I, for example, run make for let me just run make here, and if I go here, for example, and I go under floor, and I change this one from brick to this, for example, you can change it whatever way you like. But if I change this from this to brick, and then I save this as, so I can go ahead and save as test2.map. I'm gonna hit OK here, and if I close that down and I close this, I can just run make and tell make that the arguments variable should not be the one that used in the file. Instead, it should be test2.map, and then make will automatically pass this variable correctly, and we get our test2.map. And we can of course load test.map here as well, but if we choose not to pass in any arguments, it will automatically pass in test.map because that's the default value in the make file. And of course, if we actually don't pass any argument to the program, it will still open an empty map. So yeah, that will make our editor a lot more user friendly. And the second thing that we'll do is we currently there is no way to resize our map, which is a bit of a problem. So for that, let me open up map.cpp and map.h first of all, and let's close that. And in here you can see we have got set map cell, fill, and all of those other functions, but we are going to add another value here, another function here called resize. Now this will take in an int width and an int height like that. So for this, we'll go ahead and implement it. It should not be too difficult to implement at all. So we are gonna go down here where we are got our other functions, and we are gonna say, well, let me do this here. So we are going to implement this void map colon we have got our function here resize, and we are going to take in, of course, an int width, and actually this should be a size underscore t width and a size underscore t height, and that of course gives an error because we need to change it in here as well. So because we only want to use unsigned integers, so let's just use size underscore t like that and like that. So inside of this we are gonna take these values and we are going to say our grid dot resize, which is a function in the actual grid, which we are gonna resize to our height because the y value is the first one stored in our grid. Then we are going to actually go over each value in the grid. So we are gonna say for we are gonna say auto and column in our grid. So for each column in our grid we are going to say column dot resize, and we are going to resize it to the appropriate width, and that will essentially, yeah, that should resize our map and grid everything correctly. And as you can see, this resize has got like two overloads, which can be, one can be used to provide it with a specific value. We are gonna just provide it with the default value, or you could provide it with an initializer array with 3 values, but that would get a bit problematic. You will need to like pass an std array here. We'll just leave it at default. So now it's time to integrate this functionality into our editor.cpp. So now let's go here, and you can see that we have got all of our functionalities here. We are going to have a function for resizing this as well. So currently you can see we have got an imgui button clear, that's our last widget. Well, before the fill and the clear one, we are going to have another button. So if imgui colon button, which this is going to be called resize. Now what this button will do is that it will open a pop-up window to allow us to resize something. Now in imgui, the way you handle pop-up windows is by using open pop-up to actually open something up. So we are gonna open the pop-up, and we can provide it with a specific ID here, which we'll just call resize. Yeah, that should try to open up that pop-up, and you can see that I can go down here after the window, and we are going to provide the actual implementation of the pop-up here. So we are going to say if imgui begin pop-up, so begin pop-up, but we are going to say begin pop-up model because that way the user will not be able to interact with the map until the user has dealt with this. So we are going to provide that. The name of course needs to be the same, yes, like that. So with that we have got our pop-up opened up, and we of course need to call in imgui colon and pop-up like that. So now for the actual implementation of this pop-up, I'm going to create a static variable. The reason it's static is so that it persists between frames, and it's going to be a static integer array which we'll just call new size, and it will have 2 elements. Now this will, the reason we use like a array instead of vector twice, so that we can easily pass it to the imgui input functions without having any problems, because an SF vector may be arranged differently on the inside and it might cause some problems, but we can just use this and then convert it to whatever we need. So we'll have an imgui input int2 here, which we need to give it a label. We'll just say hashtag new size, and for the value we'll pass in our new size variable. And the way it will do it is that it will just modify a value every whenever the user actually does something new, and this is static, so it will persist between different like calls of this function, and we'll have the access to value everywhere. And we'll need to just take this, and we are going to first of all check if our new size zero, well actually let's do it in a different way. So we are going to say new size 0 is equal to std max, and we are going to say 0, and we are going to, on the other side, we are just going to say new size 0. The reason is that imgui we are using a signed integer here, while for the size we want an unsigned integer. So we want to actually make sure that we clamp those values, and it does not cause the values to go negative, because when we cast that to an unsigned integer, it will cause them to go very high and will result in a lot of problems. So we just need to make sure that we clamp them between 0 as minimum value, not going to be negative. And we are going to go in here now, and we are going to say add 2 buttons here. So if imgui button, okay, so this is going to be the button when the user actually confirms the action. If that button is pressed, then we are going to just resize our map first of all. So map.resize, and provide it with our new size 0 for the width, and new size 1 for the height. And then in the end we are gonna go ahead and close the current pop-up because this is not needed anymore. Now we are gonna have imgui same line because we want the other button to be on the same line as this one, and then we are gonna say if imgui button, and this button is going to be cancel. So if the user presses the cancel button, then we are going to close the current pop-up without resizing. So we are going to say close current pop-up, and in the end of course you must call end pop-up. One thing before we run this is that we need to make sure that we actually do this inside of the window. I was doing it outside, but pop-ups cannot be like independent of windows, and that was going to cause problems. So we are going to do it inside the window. And one more thing is that I'm going to before we have got this input here, I'm going to just add an ingui text here saying new size so that the user knows what to do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We have got our resize pop-up here completely done. And one more thing that I'll do is that this is currently scoped to this. I'm gonna change this to be scoped to up here, so we're gonna paste this here. And actually let's actually move the resize button down as well. So I'm gonna go here and put this button here down like that. And whenever the user opens up the pop-up, before opening up the pop-up, we are going to set our new size. 0 value is equal to our map dot. We are going to set it to our map's current size. Of course, currently we have no way to access that, so we are going to open up map.h, and we are going to add two more functions here. So these are going to be basically size underscore t get width and a size underscore t get height. So get height like that. And in editor.cpp we'll just say map.getWidth, and new size 1 is equal to map.getHeight, map.getHeight like that. And we need to implement these quickly in map.cpp. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna copy these, then inside of this here I'm gonna go to the end and just implement these in the end of the file before the resize function. So we are going to have these like that, and we are going to say map colon get width, and we are going to just for the width we are going to return grid 0.size. So return the size of the first column. All columns are the same size, so it doesn't matter which column we choose. And for the height we are going to just return the size of the actual grid. So we are going to say grid.size like that, and that will return these values correctly. And yeah, that should work. So let's go ahead and run make. And what you should see is that we our test map opens up, and we can see that we've got a lot of stuff here. I can go here and I can hit resize, and you can see that now it says that our new size is currently 32 by 32. Now I can go here and you can see we've got quite a big this here. So we've got like a big map here. Now if I want to make it, for example, a bit bigger by adding 48 by 48, I can quite easily do that and hit OK, and you can see that now our map size has been increased like that. And I can just go ahead and set it back to the normal one if I want to. I can hit OK. And of course, if I am editing anything and I feel like that's not right, I can hit cancel and it won't make any changes. So that means that our map is working, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah guys, this is pretty much it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, in which we'll start adding collision detection functionality in our engine. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe as well, and share this video with other people, and bye.